Hello, this is Professor Jag, and this is Chapter 14, and Chapter 14 is on stress, abuse, and family problems. And as you can see, I don't feel very good, especially when we talk about stress, abuse, and family problems. I actually feel constipated, right? I don't know, it brings this stress sign, this stress alert sign in my mind not to think about stuff like that, right? Just to avoid stress. So I have several facts for you. I have about 9 facts about stress. Fact 1, the relationship between stress and functioning is curvilinear. Too little stress creates boredom. Too much stress creates discomfort and frustration. Fact 2, eustress, a low, moderate, or a moderate to high level of stress is positive, motivating, and exciting. But my question is, what is the adequate level? We all have to have stress, right? But what is the adequate level? And what is adequate with inadequate, right? Much of the early research on stress focused on life injury, divorce, pregnancy, automobile accidents, and how those events cause stress. But Holmes and Rafe developed one of the most popular stress scales, which assigns impact points for various stressful events experienced over a year. This scale assumes that stress pile up, the accumulation of stressful life events is what is most problematic for people. So it's piling it up, getting full of it, I guess, right? Fact 3 and fact 4, that's going to be next slide, okay? Fact 3. Families in all cultures experience stress, even though the types of issues that cause the stress vary by the cultural group. All stressors, regardless of their origin, eventually affect family members. Fact 5. All families have some internal resources for managing stress, which they tend to use before turning to outside resources outside the family. Okay, so they try to cope with it within family. So here are some stressors that I don't know if you might be familiar with, okay? Stress is lowest among, let's see. Actually, stressors, we were going to go ahead and talk about teenagers, right? Stress is highest, and family satisfaction is lowest among families with adolescent teenagers. When it comes to kids, young and older couples without children in the home tend to have the least stress and higher couple satisfaction. That's when, no kids around. Money, new stressors appear at each stage of the family life cycle. Others are common across all stages. For example, financial issues, right? Money, right? That's always a stressful thing, right? All the time, right? How about death? How about death? Intra-family and work family strains and the death of a family member or relative are also seen as at all stages of the family life cycle as stressful situations. That's, I guess, normal, right? But it's how we manage it, right? How we deal with it, right? Let's go into to review just the common life and family stressors at all stages of the cycle are uncompleted tasks, emotional difficulties, sexual difficulties between spouses, major economic investments and purchases, and we go down the list. I mean, you guys could go ahead and review those on your own, right? Hill's ABC X model. Hill's ABC X model seeks to describe why families react as they do during times of stress or crisis. Hill's variable includes the stressor, the family's crisis meeting resources, the definition the family gives the event, and the crisis. So it's a good model here to go ahead and study this more profound, right? Let's see. The roller coaster course of adjustment to stressors described by Hill involves a period of disorganization, an angle of recovery, and a new level of organization. So I guess the model goes into analyzing and studying stress altogether and understanding how people define it and how they develop a resistance, I guess, to the stress, right? And how they overcome the stress, right? I don't believe people die of stress, but stress piles up, and stress is linked to pretty much almost 100% of all illnesses, right? So how stressed you are, the worse the illness will be, right? And it's detrimental in this case, right? Spousal abuse. We talked about stress and abuse. It's stressful, right? Based on a national study of spousal abuse with 20,951 married couples, non-abusive marriages were compared with abusive marriages. And guess what? It was found out. I mean, these studies are great because they allow you to compare and contrast, right? Non-abusive marriages compared with abusive marriages used less alcohol, had higher levels of couple closeness and flexibility, better communication and conflict resolution skills, and a stronger family network. Let's go on the risk factors. Victimization as a child will, evolve into being abusive, right? Low self-esteem, economic stress, isolation, social isolation, alcohol abuse, and other drugs as well. a male-dominated relationship. Risk factors vary and cultural factors as well, so it depends on gender roles in this case, right? You know, an advice here that I posted on this slide. Counselors advise better. And this is because counselors, are the ones that give the advice. Counselors advised battered women to leave their husbands, shelter for abused women and their children, offer emotional support in counseling and also practical help. Police arrest of perpetrators of domestic violence is more common today, and research indicates that men who spend time behind bars are less likely to assault their partners again. So, it's a good correctional method there, right, for those that are abusive. Right, it's not good to be abusive, by the way, of course, right? I don't agree with it 100%, do not agree with it. Okay, three more facts. Then I have those facts right here. Child abuse. Then we have another one for child abuse. All three are about child abuse, actually, right? I would like you to go ahead and discuss, study these, read these at your spare time. Child abuse encompasses, because, I can't go through each one of the slides, and I only have a certain amount of time to cover each slide, right? Child abuse encompasses not only physical abuse resulting in injury, but also abandonment, neglect. Child abuse and child-to-parent abuse are more common than expected. 75% of all siblings are involved in violent episodes this year. So it's what they see is what they do as well, right? The next fact, abuse and neglect occurs across all socioeconomic levels, although they are far more prevalent among low-income families. So there's a relationship there, right? And going back to the risk factors, if you have finance problems, economic problems, well, you're going to react more aggressively, more stressfully, right? Many abusive parents, talk about abusive parents. Many abusive parents were themselves abused as children, but only about 1/4 to 1/3 of all children who are abused grow up to abuse their own offspring. However, 1/3, it's a lot anyways, right? Parental and family risk factors for child abuse include, and we have the list right there: economic distress, inadequate parenting skills, parental personality problems, chemical abuse, isolation, a special child, family size, right? Treatment of abusive parents involved three strategies: increasing the parent's self-esteem, educating the parent about children and child-rearing techniques, and helping the parent develop support networks. So, these are ways to overcome or to confront this situation of abuse, right? Sexual abuse. Sexual abuse of children is categorized as intrafamilial and extrafamilial. In other words, incestuous and non-incestuous. Either or, it's child abuse, right? Child abuse is seen in two types of families: the chaotic style type of family and the normal appearing families. Whoa! Those that try to hide it, I guess, right? But child abuse exists, and it's more likely than you can imagine, and not all of the cases are reported. The ones that you hear that are reported, those kids that end up in foster care, which is the kind of job that I do for a living, that I used to do for a living anyways. And I did it for several years, for many years actually. About 6 years I did foster care. I'll tell you one thing, you have cases like that. You have infants that were physically, sexually abused and end up in the system. So, but the ones that are not reported are the ones that continue to suffer this. Fact number 9: incestuous abuse. Incestuous abuse is the sexual exploitation of a child under the age of 18 by a relative, right? Okay, so child abuse effects. Now you have all the effects right here. Anger, depression, school difficulties, guilt, lowered self-esteem, and so on. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cover those for the test as well, right? When it comes to abuse, let's talk about narcotics. Alcohol. In dealing with an alcohol abusing member, families commonly go through 7 stages. These stages are the following: the family attempts to deny the problem. The family attempts to eliminate the problem. Family becomes disorganized. Family makes a first attempt at reorganization when the sober spouse takes action. Family attempts to escape the problem through separation or divorce. The family makes a second attempt at reorganization, and the family reorganizes with the alcohol abusing member seeking help. So finally they go out and seek help, right? That same pattern, right? An estimated 100,000 Americans die each year from alcohol abuse, and about 478,000 Americans die from diseases linked to smoking. So, alcohol, narcotics, it's a killer, right? Anyways, thank you very much, and hope to hear from you soon, okay? Not to hear from you soon, but for you to go ahead and hear from me soon. Bye-bye.